Hello, my name is Abigail and welcome back to Polyglot Progress. Today is June 19th, 2020. I just got done filming a German diary entry that I'm not feeling good about at all. By the time you're watching this, that video was posted about a week ago, so if you speak German and would like to go and give me any corrections that you note in the video or help me out with ways that I can maybe help improve my accent because I'm feeling really bad about that right now, I'd really appreciate it. But because I am filming 3 videos today, that being the first of them, I decided that I wanted to push myself in a much kind of happier, more uplifting direction after filming that one. So we are going to talk about my summer goals. And as you can probably tell by the fact that I wanted to film this video to kind of cheer myself up as opposed to the other video I have to film today, I did pretty well with my summer goals this past month. So I'm going to try to keep this video a little bit more compact because I'm now doing those kind of reviews of the last month in my language learning. You kind of see a little bit more of stuff as it's happening and how I'm feeling about it. So I don't think there's as much of a reason for me to kind of ramble on about stuff here. I'll just kind of give you the quick updates of how I'm doing on stuff, talk about things for a little bit, but if you're interested in kind of what my last month looked like, you should definitely check out my May video that I posted recently and then also my June video that's going to come out in maybe the next video that comes out. It's either the next video or the video after that. So I'm honestly just gonna go through my summer goals list and tell you how they're going. So my first goal for the summer was to follow my kind of 2020 plans that applied to summer. So I made myself kind of like a breakdown of what I wanted to be doing every single month for the rest of 2020, but really it only was finalized through August. So it kind of perfectly worked out as being my summer goals plans. So far I've done perfectly well with this. In May, the plan was to finish having German as my main focus with French being maintained, and then move in to June where Spanish would be the focus for study, and then German I would kind of study through things like reading Percy Jackson and looking at vocabulary that I don't know and listening to podcasts and watching TV and taking italki lessons and things like that, kind of working on learning the language more through using it as opposed to studying grammar concepts and that sort of thing. And I've still looked at grammar concepts and stuff. Like I did a Coffee Break German podcast at one point, and so that allowed me to kind of learn certain things while also kind of immersing myself. So I'd say that that's gonna definitely be how I continue on this plan, is having like a month where I really do like a crash course refresh, since I did take a year off from language learning prior to this, and then go on to learn stuff more through immersion techniques. The one thing that I will note is that I definitely need to work on getting French more in the mix. I have not spoken French in a year, and I realized this while messaging an italki tutor, and I was like, yeah, I have a degree in French and I've studied French for 8 years, but I haven't spoken French in a year because I don't have any opportunities to do it. And honestly, before last summer, it had been a year before that, just because I did kind of all my French related classes in my first 2 years of college. So even though I was getting a French degree, I wasn't really taking constant French classes. So it is a thing where I go years at a time without speaking it now, which is weird and not how I want it to be. So I definitely need to work on doing more things for that, and I think italki is going to be a great way to keep French happening in my life. I booked 3 italki lessons, one for Spanish, one for German, one for French. So hopefully that'll be good. I'm planning to continue doing that. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but I am planning to kind of keep myself taking at least 1 italki lesson a week, I think is going to be the plan, and just kind of rotate it through languages, maybe see what I feel like I need the most practice in. My next goal was to complete the German tutor book. Did that. I'm going to post a review of that at some point soon too, which is exciting. And then I also wanted to finish Spanish tutor. I'm about halfway through this right now, but I'm set to finish it long before the end of the month, like a week before the end of the month pretty much. So I'll be done with that pretty soon. I've been doing 2 units a day, so that's kind of how it's moving pretty quickly. So that one should be something that I tell you I've finished by the next goals update. And then I also wanted to finish Italian tutor, which is what I'm going to be doing next month because Italian's going to become the study focus. And then intensive Bulgarian, which I have not started. That'll be August's thing, so hopefully I will stick to this kind of thing. I think having the plan is really making it easy to knock out those kind of book goals. I wanted to read 5 books in other languages this summer. Some of them I had mapped out. I have been working on reading Percy Jackson in German. I'm like 1 chapter in right now, so I have a long way to go in that book. I have also from time to time been reading that Spanish poetry book that I mentioned in the last video as one of the books I wanted to read this summer. I'm moving a little bit slower through it because I am focusing more on like crash course reminding myself of grammar points and that sort of thing. Like, I had to relearn like the preterite and the imperfect and stuff like that in Spanish, so that's been kind of more where my focus lies, is just kind of like refreshing things that I used to know. But I am pretty far in the poetry book and it doesn't take me that long to get through, so honestly I feel like next month when I move to kind of immersing myself in Spanish, I'll probably just try to finish the poetry book then. Other than that, the other 3 books, I know that I want to read Matilda in Italian, so that'll probably come starting in August, and then I want to read something in French. Need to figure out what that is. I started listening to an audiobook of 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but I'm not sure that that's what I want to read. I may kind of switch to something else. And then I need to pick a 5th book. I'm not totally sure what that's gonna be yet. I'm tempted to maybe get like a children's book in Bulgarian and try that out, but I don't really think I'm gonna be at the level to do that yet necessarily, because I'll have just kind of started to restudy Bulgarian by the end of the summer. And while I could do a children's book and like work through it throughout the month and stuff, and it could be good for me, I think I would rather get like a more advanced book in one of the other languages and kind of push myself to read a second advanced book. Like if I finish the Spanish poetry book in July, then I feel like I should just read another Spanish book probably. But that's really going to be one that I figure out as the summer goes along, I think. I wanted to watch a bunch of stuff in other languages. I said I was going to make like a watch list of TV shows and movies that I wanted to see. I sort of did that for German. I sat down and made myself basically like a cohesive resources list of like books and reading comprehension websites and stuff I could do to practice reading, places that I could practice speaking, so like italki, etc. Shows that I wanted to watch, podcasts to listen to, a bunch of stuff like that. So hopefully I will get around to watching those things soon. I haven't really been good about watching German things at the moment. I've started watching some kind of like YouTube stuff. I watched an Easy German video this morning before I filmed my mess of a diary. Hopefully I will be a little bit better about that, because definitely that's something that I need to improve for this coming month when it comes to my German, is upping my like listening comprehension and my like watching of things in German, because I think that's gonna play a big role on my speaking abilities. I also found some stuff in other languages too, but I don't really have cohesive like lists for those yet, so I would like to do that. Podcasts, I said that I wanted recommendations, but I didn't really set a goal for listening to any this month, but I listened to 2 German related podcasts, one being a Coffee Talk German and one being a podcast in German. And then same thing for Spanish, listened to a Coffee Talk magazine Spanish, which I clicked on just kind of randomly. I was in the car, so I had to do the audio thing, so when I told it Coffee Talk Spanish, that was what it opened up, which was for intermediate to advanced listeners, and it's more of like they read you something and walk you through it and how it's doing the grammar things it's doing and stuff, and I feel like that was actually the perfect level for me, which was nice to know that I'm kind of in that intermediate advanced listening comprehension range for Spanish. But I think I'll go back and do the beginner ones too, because I feel like they have that really nice almost Pimsleur style technique of they're gonna ask you something and then you have to say it, and I think that would be helpful for my Spanish speaking abilities. And then I also listened to a podcast in Spanish. I also made a list of all the podcasts that people recommended me on my last video and made myself a playlist on Spotify of like 1 episode per podcast, so that way I could go through and just kind of like listen to all of them and find ones that I like. I think I'm finding that I'm actually pretty picky with podcasts. I am though making myself listen to them all the way through if they're at my level, and that's not the reason that I don't like them so much. I'm having myself listen all the way through so that way I do get the listening comprehension, but the ones that I like are going to be the ones that I listen to again. Like I really did like Coffee Break Spanish and Coffee Break German, so I'll definitely listen to more episodes of those, and I'll also check out Coffee Break Italian when I get to that. I set myself a video challenge where I want to record videos in each of the languages for a certain number of minutes before editing, and I don't want them to be like the diaries where I'm talking about what I've been doing. I want them to be like on a set topic, like I'm going to talk about my favorite food, or I'm going to talk about a trip I once took, or something like that. Like it's gonna have a topic, it's gonna be like a normal YouTube video, but I'm gonna have to film it in a separate language, just to kind of push myself almost the way that the Add One challenge had the 15-minute conversation goal. I'm not sure if it's the same goal for the Fluent in 3 Months challenge that kind of took it over, but I wanted to speak for 30 minutes in French, 20 minutes in German, 15 minutes Spanish, 15 minutes Italian, and 10 minutes in Bulgarian. I haven't filmed any of them yet. This is more of an end of summer thing anyway. Like, I think I'll probably post maybe even multiple German diaries this summer, but I won't post this like German video challenge video until the very end, because it really is going to be a culmination to kind of see what I can do at the end of the summer, if that makes sense. As I said, I did book italki lessons and am planning to kind of do that at least once a week. I know already there are a few weeks I'm gonna have to kind of take off throughout the summer, but for the most part I want to be doing it like once to twice a week, even if I can, just so that I can continue to improve. And I think that having set times where I have to practice speaking, and I have to practice speaking with someone who can help correct me, is going to really help me for these videos. I wanted to spend 30 to 60 minutes a day studying and then have immersion done on top of that, which I'd say that I've definitely stuck with. I found that doing about 2 units of the tutor books back there takes me like 30 to 60 minutes depending on what the units are, so that is perfect. I do my little refresh of whatever the language that I'm refreshing this month is, and then I, outside of that, will practice journaling. I've got a schedule for that. I journal in kind of whatever the maintenance language is on Thursdays, alternating. So I've been alternating between French and German, and then every Sunday I do whatever the main language is. So I've been doing it in Spanish. Been trying to speak to myself in languages more, been trying to watch things and stuff, and that all happens outside of the 30 to 60 minutes. Also the reading and stuff, I don't know if I mentioned that. I wanted to stick with the Polyglot Progress upload schedule, which I for the most part have done. There has been a few times where I've had to shift some videos, or I've forgotten a video. The other week I uploaded on a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday because I was confused about what day it was. But I'd say for the most part I'm easing into it pretty well. I do really like the twice a week uploads, but I don't know how sustainable it's gonna be long term. I really like the variety of content it allows me to post. I do like my upload schedule that I've made for myself in terms of like alternating diaries and stuff like that, but I feel like when I do go back to working full time, it might be a little tricky to get this done. Similarly, I've also been watching a lot of language YouTube again. I feel like in my hiatus, I not only wasn't posting, wasn't studying, I also wasn't really watching a ton of YouTube stuff related to languages, so it's really nice to be back. I feel like I've been doing a lot of that. It gets me more immersed in the community. It also inspires me a lot more to continue with languages. So I'm feeling very hopeful about the rest of the summer, the rest of this year with my language learning. I feel really good about where I'm at with my summer goals, and I feel like it's only going to get better. I think this month was really the first full month I got to study languages. I guess it's not even over, but because it was kind of like half of May, half of April, I think June was really the month to start solidifying routines and stuff, and I feel like it's going really well. I'm really building on that stuff. I'm getting more and more into it. I'm getting back in the groove of language learning. I'm feeling good enough to book italki lessons, which I always talk myself out of. So I'm feeling good about it. And I'll be back in a month to let you know what I've done in the time since. I really liked getting to read what your goals were for the summer in the last video, so if you want to just kind of update me, update everyone else on how you're doing with those, or if you're just joining with this video, you can let us know what your goals are for the summer and stuff, especially if you're maybe a high school student who's kind of just getting out of school now. I honestly have no idea what day of the week this video is going up on, so if today is Saturday, I will see you on Wednesday, and if today is Wednesday, I will see you on Saturday. And remember, practice makes progress.